India's rice export bans expected into 2024. US, Israel, and Hamas reach tentative deal to pause conflict. Marcos says South China Sea work in progress after Xi talk. Australian Navy divers possibly injured by Chinese Navy's sonar. China and Japan agree to resolve Fukushima dispute through dialogue. The Moscow Times declared a foreign agent. Jailed Russian nationalist nominates himself for president. South Korea to ban eating dogs.
Hello, I'm Johnny. Thank you for joining us on Funday News. It's Monday, November 20th, and here are your top stories. Bloomberg reported that India, the world's top rice exporter, is expected to maintain its curbs on overseas sales well into next year, a move likely to hold the staple grain at close to its highest price levels since the food crisis of 2008. Chief economist for India and Asia ex-Japan at Nomura Holdings Inc., Sona Verma, said as long as domestic rice prices face upwards pressure, the restrictions are likely to stay. He added, even after the elections, if domestic rice prices do not stabilize, these measures are likely to get extended.
Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who will seek re-election next year, has repeatedly tightened restrictions on shipments in a bid to curb domestic price rises and shield Indian consumers. President of the Rice Exporters Association, which represents the country's shippers, B.V. Krishna Rao said Modi's government wants to ensure adequate supplies at home and to cool price increases. He said the government would likely keep the export restrictions in place until the vote next year.
The Washington Post reported last Saturday, citing people familiar with the deal, that Israel, the United States, and Hamas have reached a tentative agreement to free dozens of women and children held hostage in Gaza in exchange for a 5-day pause in fighting. The Post reported that all parties would freeze combat operations for at least 5 days, while an initial 50 or more hostages are released in smaller groups. Every 24 hours, Hamas took about 240 hostages during its October 7th attack.
According to people familiar with the deal, the hostage release could begin within the next several days. The Post said the stop in fighting is also intended to allow a significant increase in the amount of humanitarian assistance, including fuel, to enter the besieged enclave from Egypt. However, after the report was initially published, U.S. White House National Security Council spokesperson Adrienne Watson tweeted that there was no deal yet, but we continue to work hard to get a deal.
Philippine President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. told reporters last Friday, after a poolside meeting with China's President Xi in San Francisco, that his government was looking for ways to ease tensions in the South China Sea. We really should view this as a work in progress. It's a process. He said, while both agree that the South China Sea issue shouldn't be the defining element of the two nations' relationship, the problems remain, and it is something that we need to continue to communicate.
Marcos told reporters, I voiced to him my concern about some of the incidents that were happening. He noted, I think sincerity exists for all parties involved. I do not think anybody wants to go to war. The two leaders last met in January, when they agreed to settle differences in the South China Sea and pursue oil exploration. Still, tense encounters between Chinese and Philippine vessels in the contested waters in recent months strained bilateral relations.
Australia last Saturday accused the Chinese Navy of likely causing minor injuries to Australian naval divers by operating its sonar while they were trying to clear fishing nets from their ship's propellers. Australian Defence Minister Richard Marles said in a statement on his official website that the Australian government has expressed its serious concerns to the Chinese government over what it called the unsafe and unprofessional conduct earlier last week.
According to a Reuters report, the Australia HMAS Toowoomba stopped in international waters last Tuesday in Japan's exclusive economic zone after fishing nets became entangled in its propellers. The naval frigate had been helping to enforce UN sanctions in the region. While diving operations were underway, a Chinese destroyer moved toward the Australian ship and was detected operating its hull-mounted sonar in a way that posed a risk to the divers and forced them to get out of the water.
Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida and Chinese President Xi Jinping agreed to seek a resolution through dialogue to a dispute over wastewater from the Fukushima nuclear plant. Kishida said after their first summit in a year, he urged Xi to end a ban on imports of Japanese seafood. Kishida added, "We will hold discussions based on science at an expert level. Even though the International Atomic Energy Agency has said the release is safe, China has banned imports of Japanese seafood."
The media said the meeting last Thursday came a day after Joe Biden hailed an improvement in U.S. relations with China following his own talks with Xi. That warmer tone helped open the way for U.S. ally Japan to pursue its efforts to shore up ties with its biggest trade partner. The Asian neighbors have been wrangling over everything from semiconductors to nuclear waste and the fate of Japanese citizens detained in China. A territorial dispute over uninhabited islands near Taiwan also continues to simmer.
Last Friday, Russia's Justice Ministry added that the Moscow Times, an online newspaper popular among Russia's expatriate community, to its list of foreign agents in the country's continuing crackdown on critical news media and opposition. The Moscow Times publishes in English and in Russian, but its Russian language site was blocked in Russia several months after the Ukraine war began. It was not immediately clear how the move would affect the Moscow Times English site.
The foreign agent designation subjects individuals and organizations to increased financial scrutiny and requires any of their public material to prominently include notice of being declared a foreign agent. Dmitry Muratov, the Nobel Peace Prize-winning editor of the independent newspaper Novaya Gazeta, was declared a foreign agent in September. The paper earlier had suspended operations in Russia. The Moscow Times began in 1992 as a daily print paper distributed for free and became online only in 2017.
The online SOTA news channel set Igor Girkin, a prominent ultra-nationalist in custody in Russia awaiting trial on charges of inciting extremism, nominated himself to run for president in 2024 in an announcement read on his behalf last Saturday. Girkin said from custody in August that he would make a better president than Vladimir Putin, whom he described as too kind. His comments at the time were laced with irony, and he is considered an unlikely contender.
In a post on its Telegram channel, SOTA posted a video of Oleg Nelzin, whom it described as co-chair of a group called Russian Movement for Strelkov, reading a letter from Girkin at a news conference. SOTA said the letter instructed his followers to set up a headquarters and start collecting signatures for his candidacy. Girkin is best known in the West for his conviction in absentia by a Dutch court for his role in shooting down a Malaysian passenger plane over eastern Ukraine in 2014.
A South Korean ruling party policy chief said last Friday the country aims to ban eating dog meat and put an end to the controversy over the ancient custom amid growing awareness of animal rights. The policy chief of the ruling People Power Party, Yoo Wi-dong, said at a meeting with government officials and animal rights activists, it is a time to put an end to social conflicts and controversies around dog meat consumption through the enactment of a special act to end it.
Yu said the government and ruling party would introduce a bill this year to enforce a ban, adding that with expected bipartisan support, the bill should sail through Parliament. Agriculture Minister Chung Wong-keun told the meeting the government would implement a ban quickly and provide the maximum possible support for those in the dog meat industry to close their businesses. First Lady Kim Keon-hee has been a vocal critic of dog meat consumption and along with the president has adopted stray dogs.
The answer for yesterday was A, off the cuff. The president's off-the-cuff remarks are better than his official statement. Did you answer correctly? Now let's delve into the news of South Korea banning eating dogs. Number 1, controversy. 公开的争论、辩论、论战. The president resigned amid considerable controversy. Number 2, maximum. 形容词，最高的、最多的、最大极限的。名词是最大量、最大限度。For maximum effect, do the exercises every day. The job will require you to use all your skills to the maximum. Number 3, consumption. 能量、食物或材料的消耗量. He was advised to reduce his alcohol consumption. Next, we have a multiple choice question for everyone to practice. Which answer would you choose? You can write your answer in the comments section. The correct answer will be announced tomorrow. And that's all for today's Funday News. Be sure to tune into Funday News from Monday to Friday and click the link below to join Funday for free. I'm Johnny Wu, your host. I'll see you next time.